Hey, welcome back to Math Quest. Hey, listen, today I wanted to go through and show you how to solve equations with fractions. How do we do that? Because I know a lot of people, as soon as they throw a fraction in, it's like they throw a monkey wrench in the business and it broke everything down. We don't know what to do, right? So I figured, why don't I show you how to get rid of it? And then you have nothing but whole numbers to solve with. And that's it. It's done deal, right? Hey, you know me. Get your notepad ready. Get ready to take down notes. In fact, right there on the screen is the first equation you should be writing down. All right. So we got b plus 3 divided by 5 minus b over 4 equals b minus 2 over 5. All right. Let's get rid of the fractions. Let's pay attention. Here we go. So the first thing, let's look at the denominators. We got 5, 4, 5. Okay. Pretty simple. What we want to look at is the highest number and ask ourselves, do the other numbers go into it evenly? Well, if I look at it, 5 is the highest number. So does 4 go into 5 evenly? It doesn't. So what I'm going to do is get multiples of 5 until I find a multiple of 5 that 4 can be divided into evenly. Does that make sense? So for instance, this is pretty simple since it's a 5 and a 4. I get 20. And I ask myself, does 5 go into 20 evenly? Yes. Does 4 go into 20 evenly? Yes, it does. Therefore, my number is going to be 20. Can I use other numbers other than 20? Yeah, you can, but they would end up being bigger, giving you larger numbers to simplify at the end only to obtain the same solution, right? So in this case, we're going to stick with 20. And what I'm going to do here, right, I am going to multiply the entire equation, or as some people would say, both equations, right? Because this here would be an equation, that would be an equation. So both sides of the equation. And I'm going to multiply by 20. Well, by now you should be an expert at using the distributive property. So we're going to multiply 20 times this fraction here, 20 times that, and 20 times that one over there. Now listen carefully. I keep saying that I'm going to multiply by 20, and I am, but the first thing I must do is divide by the denominator, and then I multiply. Now, I've had the question like, well, can I multiply and then divide? Yeah, you can. You just end up with a larger number to divide. And remember, I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible for you, okay? So write it down. Divide first, then multiply. So here we go. Let me show you how it looks. We take this 20 and we're going to divide by the denominator. In this case, happens to be 5. So 20 divided by 5 is what I'm going to do. And I get 4, right? So I'm going to get 4. And just so I don't forget, I'm going to write it up here. I know I made a mess out of this already. And I'm going to multiply the entire quantity by 4. So it's like a distributive property inside the distributive property, right? So 4. Now, in this case, remember, I took the 20 and divided by 5. So I no longer have this 5 here. I no longer have this 20 for this section here, right? What I have is a 4. That's why I wrote it up here. So instead of the 20, I'm working with a 4 now. Now I take 4 times b, and that's simply 4b. Then I take that same 4 and multiply times the 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Now, notice in between those two numbers, we have a plus sign. Those operations are never going to change. It's still going to be a plus sign, so just write plus. Here, as you can see, we have a minus sign, so let's go ahead and write it in there. Minus. And again, let's take this 20 again, right? You may think, but didn't we simplify that with the 4? We did, but once we start with the new term, we have the 20 again. So right now, I'm going to divide it out, and when I get back to the third term, I have the 20 again. Okay? It's like a new problem each time. So now I have the 20, and I'm going to divide it by 4. That's going to equal 5. So I no longer have this 4, and I have a 5. 5 times b is simply 5b. I'm going to bring down my equal sign. And then again, I have my 20 again, and I'm going to do this section right here. This section. So 20 is like having this 20 right here. So 20 divided by 5 is 4. So I no longer have that 5 or that 20. I have a 4 now. 4 times b is simply 4b. That minus sign, I just bring it down. And then 4 times 2 is going to give me 8. Notice, I've gotten rid of the fractions. I have nothing but whole numbers. Now all I have to do is combine like terms. And I'm done. That is it. That's all you have to do, people. Okay? Now, before I continue, just like to point out, depending on who your teacher is and so forth, because this, notice, this is an equal sign right here. On this side, I have an equation, so they write that 20 there. On this other side, I have that other equation, so they like to write a 20 over here. It's the same difference. Whatever makes it easy for you to understand, that's what I want you to do. Let's go ahead and combine like terms down here so we can finish simplifying. We got 4b here, and we got a minus 5b. What that's going to give me is a minus 1b, and I still have my positive 12 on this side. On this side, there's nothing to combine, so I just have 4b minus 8. So let's continue to combine the b's here, right? Get all the b's in the same colony. Get it? B's. Get the okay. So we have plus b here and plus b here. The reason I did it this way and not minus 4b on both sides is because I want to keep it positive. That way I don't have to change it at the end. So this is going to become a 0. This becomes a 12 equals 4 plus 1b equals 5b minus 8. That's what I have left there. Now, let's go ahead and combine that 8. So that'll be plus 8 plus 8. That's going to give me a 0. 5b equals 12 plus 8 is 20. The last step here, divide both sides by 5, which is the coefficient, so that I can get the b by itself. Would that be the queen bee I got by itself? Get it? Because they're still about the b. No, okay. And then we end up with b equals 20 divided by 5 is 4. So in this problem, b has a value of 4. Was that easy or what? Huh? I told you I showed you an easy way, right? There you go. And that's how you do it, right? There you can see here at the bottom, the next problem is already coming up. You good? All right. Let's move on to the next one. So right here, first of all, pause the video, copy this down, and then come back as we begin. And let's see what we're going to multiply all this by. All right? So I'm assuming you're back already. I am going to take this equation and I'm going to multiply the whole thing by something that 10, 2, and 5 can go into evenly. 10, 2, and 5. Well, can 2 go into 5 and, can 2 go into 10 evenly? Yes, it can. Can 5 go into 10 evenly? Yes, it can. Can 10 go into 10 evenly? Yes, it can. So therefore, I'm going to use 10, right? Now, some people would say, oh, I'm just going to multiply them all and use it. So 10 times 2 is 20. 20 times 5 is 100. I'm going to multiply everything by 100. And guess what? You'd end up with the same answer. But you end up working with larger numbers, which means you have a higher probability of getting an incorrect answer. All right? So in this case, we figured out that 10 will work. So let's multiply everything by 10. Here we go. I'll put the 10 up here. And remember, because we want to get rid of the fraction, we want to divide out first. If you're comfortable with this, I want you to go ahead and pause the video, solve it, and then come back and see if you got it correct. All right? Now, I'm assuming you're already back, so let's proceed. So here, we have 10, and we're going to divide this 10 by the 5. 10 divided by 5 is 4. So now I got 4 up here that I'm going to multiply times this 3y, which gives me 12y. My plus sign here is still a plus sign here. Now back to the 10 divided by 2. That's 5. Take that 5 and we multiply it times the 3 and we get 15. Continue. There's my equal sign. Just bring it straight down. 10 divided by 10 is 1. we're going to multiply this 7 by 1, and we get 7. And the y just continues to follow along with the 7. All right. There you can see how smoothly we got rid of the fraction. Now let's continue and combine like terms so that we can get the final value. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to move the 12y. Normally I would move the 7, but I'm going to move the 12y so that the 15 stays on this side by itself. So let's use a different color here. We're going to do minus 12y minus 12y. Right there. That's going to give me 15 equals negative 5y. All right. One last step. Let's divide both sides by 5. So that's negative 5, by the way. So divide here by negative 5. And whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So that gives me my y equals 15 divided by negative 5 is going to be negative 3. Final answer. What? You're doing algebra if you can do this. This is a pre-algebra video. This is what I teach my pre-algebra kids. But this is an algebraic equation. If you can do this, you miles ahead. All right. Hey, one more. Huh? How about it? One more. Here we go. Again, pause the video. Give it a shot. Determine what you're going to multiply everything by. Do it. Solve for x. And come right back. So, if you finish the problem, I hope that you multiplied everything by. We have a 3, a 2, and a 6. I know that 2 goes into 6 evenly, 3 goes into 6 evenly, and 6 goes into 6 evenly one time. So we're going to multiply everything by 6. Let's make it green, my favorite color. So here we go. 6 divided by 3 is 2. And then 2 times 4 is 8. 8x. Bring down my plus sign. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And then that 3 times the 3 gives me a 9x. Bring down my equal sign. Again, 6 divided by 6 is 1. And 17 times 1 is 17. Ding, 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 ding. We've gotten rid of the fractions. And the crowd goes, wow. All right. So, if you made a mistake here, please go ahead and erase it on your notebook and write it correctly so you have this available as part of your notes. All right, let's continue to combine like terms so we can finish solving this. So we got 8 plus 9, that's 17x equals 17. Remember, we got to get this x by itself. So we divide both sides by 17 with the blue color because it's got to be colorful. Because math is colorful. This becomes a 1x. There's my 1x. And 17 divided by 17 is 1. X has a value of 1. And the crowd goes wild again. And that, my friends, is how to solve equations by getting rid of the fractions first. All right? Hey, I hope you got value out of this. And if you did, go and hit the like and subscribe button. And I'll see you next time on Math Quiz. Goodbye.